Hey there, boys and girls, we're back. Way of the Warrior Kid, Where There's Will, by Jocko Willink. We're on chapter 16. Let's see if Mark can find out more about Danny so he can get some clarity. Today, Nathan, Kenny, and I had a ton of work to do. When we completed our first house, we had to go immediately to the next one, and then the next one, and the next. By lunchtime, we had worked 4 houses and still had 4 more to do. I know Uncle Jake wanted me to be friends with Danny and all that, but today I just had enough and couldn't help from saying something about it to Nathan and Kenny. I can't believe Danny won't help us. I wonder what he does all day. Nathan and Kenny laughed. Then Kenny got a serious look on his face and said, I wonder what he does do. He always says he's doing something with his older brother, I told him. Every day? Nathan asked. That's what he tells me, I replied. Who would want to hang out with their older brother all day, every day? Kenny asked. Yeah, no kidding, Nathan added. And then continuing saying, and what about the money? We're making a lot of money. Doesn't he want the money? Yeah, who doesn't need money, Kenny said. No, you took the words right out of my mouth. Nathan and Kenny stood there shaking their heads. I know I was supposed to be keeping my ego under control, but honestly, it felt kind of good to hear Kenny and Nathan realizing that maybe Danny wasn't so perfect after all. I felt a little bad because I knew Uncle Jake wouldn't want me to be saying anything bad about Danny, but at the same time, everything I was saying was true. Why should I feel bad about saying something that was actually true? So I explained some more things about Danny. I think Danny doesn't need money. What? Nathan said with a surprised look on his face. Who doesn't need money? Danny, I replied. Have you seen his parents' cars? The kind of shoes he wears? The Bentley bike he rides? Even his backpack is super nice. Brand new jiu-jitsu backpack? I don't think he needs any money at all. His parents are rich, and it seems like they give him whatever he wants. Super rich kid. Yeah, Nathan said, shaking his head. Now that you mention it, he does seem to have pretty much everything. Spoiled, Kenny shouted. I didn't answer that or agree with it out loud. I knew that was going a little too far. But inside I felt the same way, and my ego was sure happy to hear these guys finally understanding that Danny was not the kind of person to look up to. Well, I finally said, the bottom line is he isn't here, and he isn't going to be here, and all this talking won't get these lawns taken care of, so we better get to work. Nathan and Kenny agreed, and we picked up the wagon and headed to the next house, and then the next, and finally the last one. By the time we were done, we pretty much went straight to jiu-jitsu. Once we were there, I figured I had better make another attempt at getting to know Danny better, so I invited him to work with us again. Hey, we're going to work all day today, Danny. We were working all day today, Danny, and we could really use some help. Are you sure you can't help us tomorrow? Just as expected, Danny said the same old thing. Sorry, Mark, but I'm going to be doing some things with my brother tomorrow, pretty much the whole day. Okay, I said, then I thought to myself, maybe Danny just doesn't want to work. After all, he has plenty of money, so I changed tactics. What about after jiu-jitsu tomorrow? Do you want to come over and just hang out? I could have guessed it. Danny said the same thing. Well, I'll be hanging around with my brother tomorrow after jiu-jitsu. What about the next night? Same thing? Hanging around with your older brother? I asked, showing that I was not really believing him. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, Danny. Well, yeah, actually, that is what I am doing. Is that all you ever do, Danny? Hang around your brother? Doesn't it get boring? Don't you want to hang out with us kids? Danny sat there for a minute, looking a bit sad. I didn't get it at all. Why would he be sad? He was the one that didn't want to do anything with the rest of us. Picture. Then he finally said, why don't you come over to my house tomorrow after jiu-jitsu? I have to check with my parents, but it should be okay. That way you can meet my brother. That kind of surprised me. I didn't understand why he didn't want to come to my house, but didn't mind me coming over to his house. And I knew Uncle Jake wanted me to learn more about Danny, so I figured I better just go. Okay, I'll have to check with my mom, but she won't mind. Great, I'll get your phone number and call you when I get home to make sure my mom says it's okay. And that was that. After we talked, we trained some more, and we trained pretty hard. I didn't tap him out, but he didn't tap me out either. And of course, as usual, he was super nice to me the whole time. When we finished, I gave him my phone number, the phone number to my house. Well, he's not coming over, I told Uncle Jake when I got in the car to head home. Did you? Uncle Jake started to ask me a question, but I cut him off. Something I don't do very often. But I'm going over his house. Uncle Jake smiled. Nice work. When? Should be tomorrow after jiu-jitsu. He's going to call tonight to make sure his mom says it's okay. Perfect, Uncle Jake said. We got home, made dinner, and we're sitting at the table eating when the phone rang. I got it, I said, knowing it was for me as I got up from the table and picked up the phone. Just as I thought, it was Danny. He said his mom had said it was okay if I came over the next day after jiu-jitsu. I sat back down at the table. Well, Uncle Jake asked me. I'm going, I told him. Perfect, he said. Now you can learn something about what makes Danny tick. Yes, Uncle Jake, I replied, and I was starting to really wonder the answer to that exact question. I guess I'll find out tomorrow.